KA Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Bobby Carboni will start at pole position for the second race where Murray Clutchburn would lead the most laps with 162. But Matt Karzith would still win the second race of 2003. And Bobby Carboni would get the pole again for the third race where Ryan Newcar is first as of the last lap. But Kyle Traxon wrecks him! Why? But he'll be out because of Kurt Busch tire. Hooray! But Dale Carrett will win the third race, but who will be the pole sitter for the fourth race? Ryan Newcar will, and he'll sit on the pole for the fourth race. But then Kenny Shiftright would get flipped on lap 368, and Jeff Gorvette would almost win the fourth race. But in the end, Bobby Carboni would win the fourth race of 2003. Elliot Draftler would start at pole position for the fifth race, but Jerry Nadrive is out on lap 7 because of Mark Burnsley. Why? And Dale Earnhardt Jr. would lead the most laps with 91, but Jeff Gorvette would be down one lap on lap 314 because of a flat tire. And Kurt Busch tire is first on the last lap, but he would only lose by 3 inches to Ricky Carvin, who wins the fifth race of 2003. And here is the finish. This is the closest finish in Piston Cup history so far. But Murray Clutchburn would start at the pole for the sixth race where Rusty Wheelhouse would lead the most laps with 142. And Chuck Armstrong would still go on to win the sixth race. And the King starts at the pole for the seventh race where Johnny Blamer goes into the catch fence because of Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. Why? And Brush Kerber would only lose by 1 foot to the King. And the King wins the seventh race of 2003. The King has this to say to Brush Kerber. And Brush Kerber starts on the pole for the eighth race where Ken Schrader is out because of Eugene Carbareski. Why? You're not even the same number anymore. Why? And Mike Yankee would be in the lead on lap 336 where he's now out. But the winner of the eighth race is Darren Leadfoot somehow. And Jeff Gorvette will start at pole position for the ninth race where Rusty Cornfuel is out for 8 races because of Eugene Kobareski. Why? And now he's out because of Ken Schrader. Just why are you wrecking him? You're not the same number anymore. And Jeff Gorvette wins the ninth race of 2003. And Bill Racelot would be the pole sitter for the 10th race where Ryan Newcar would get flipped because of Masterson. Why are you like Todd Marcus? And Ken Schrader is out because of Eugene Kobareski. Well, of course this happens. And Matt Karzith almost wins the 10th race. But in the end, Eugene Kobareski would beat into the line and win the 10th race. Some sad news before the 11th race starts. Jerry Nadrive has a career-ending crash in practice for the 11th race of 2003. But Joe Brakecheck will replace him in the number 01. Watch out for Sammy Smelter. Ryan Newcar would be the pole sitter for the 11th race, but Kyle Traxon would wreck 22 cars, and he would be suspended for the rest of the season because of what he did. Oh, and he's out for 10 races because of Manny Flywheel. Hooray! But Kurt Busch tire would be the winner of the 11th race. Kurt Busch tire seems to do really well at Bristol. A car that doesn't do so well at Bristol is Krusty Rotor, and he's the pole sitter for the 12th race where he gets jumped over by Billy Ford! How? But the winner of the 12th race is the King, who of course wins the 12th race, because who else would? And Slide Park has been fired by DEI, and he'll join Richard Chilpaint's Racing in the number 30. Chuck Armstrong would start at pole position for the 13th race where Chuck Hicks wrecks 16 cars, and Mark Carton would almost win the 13th race, but in the end, last year's champion Tony Gasworth would win the 13th race. And Jeremy Carfield surprisingly starts at the pole for the 14th race where Ryan Newcar goes into the catch fence and Ricky Carvin would go airborne and isn't out because of Chick Hicks! Oh, but he's out because of Kevin Carvick, who only loses by 6 feet to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who wins his 4th Talladega race in a row! And Kenny Shiftright would start at pole position for the 15th race where Ryan Newcar would flip on the first lap! And Kenny Shiftright would lead over half of the laps, including pole, but now he's out because of Chick Hicks! Why? And Johnny Blamer is now out because of Todd Marcus! Why are you wrecking other cars? But luckily, Todd Marcus is out because of Manny Flywheel! Hooray! And Will Draft Rev somehow leads a lap. I don't know. And Kurt Busch tire would win the 15th race of 2003. And Tony Gasworth would start at the pole for the 16th race where Kevin Shiftright and Jeff Burnton bump into each other while jumping on the track. And James Cleaner would be out for 9 races because of Chick Hicks, who will be suspended for 9 races. Ryan Newcar would almost win the 16th race, but in the end, Maury Clutchburn would win the 16th race. And the King would start at pole position for the 17th race where Eugene Carbareski is out because of Ken Schrader. Well, of course this happens, and Matt Karzith only loses by 4 feet to Paunchy Wipeout, who surprisingly wins the 17th race. And here is what Paunchy Wipeout had to say about winning his first race. And Slide Park surprisingly starts at the pole for the 18th race where his former teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. would lead for half the laps, but on the last 21 laps, Greg Beeple would take the lead and win the 18th race of the 2003 Piston Cup season. Hollingus is back! Hooray! But Kevin Carvick would start at the pole for the 19th race and he wins! Wait, did nothing really happen? Tony Gasworth had something to say about how boring the 2003 Brickyard 400 was. And even the King said the race was boring. You know the race was bad if the King is saying it's boring. Hopefully this race, the 20th race of the 2003 Piston Cup season, will be better. Bill Gears starts at the pole, and Jeremy Carfield would go airborne and into the catch fence on lap 349 because of Slayer Petrolski. Why? At least this race was more interesting. And Ryan Newcar would be the winner of the 20th race. And he has this to say about Jeremy Carfield going into the catch fence. And Matt Karzith will start at pole position for the 21st race where Kevin Shiftwright would lead the most laps with 65, but Elliot Draftler would get flipped on lap 336 because of Mark Burnsley. Why? And Jeff Gorvette would only lose by 10 feet to Misty Motocross, who wins the 21st race of 2003. And Claude Scruggs has something to say as usual. Elliot Draftler would be back to start the pole for the 22nd race, where Davey Apex is out for 3 races and Ken Schrader is out because of Eugene Karbareski. Why did you wreck both of them for? Billy Oilchanger is in the lead with 2 to go, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. would almost win the 22nd race, but in the end, his teammate Michael Cartrip will win the 22nd race, and the King will start at the pole for the 23rd race, where Eugene Karbareski is out because of Ken Schrader. Well, of course this happens, and Hall Ingus leads the most laps with 147, but Moray Clutchburn would lose by half of the track to Ryan Newcar, who wins the 23rd race, and Todd Marcus would surprisingly get the pole for the 24th race, where he's out on the 2nd lap because of Rusty Wheelhouse. Hooray! And Sammy Smeltzer is too stinky for his own good, and now he's out for the season. And Dale Cart, who does take a car wash, somehow avoids Sammy Smelter's stench. Johnny Blamer is out with 3 to go because of Kurt Busch tire. Why? But Moray Clutchburn says this to Kurt Busch tire, and Moray Clutchburn is 11th with 3 to go. But what happens, you ask? He wins the 24th race! How? Somehow, Darren Leadfoot would start at pole position for the 25th race, where Kurt Busch tire and Ken Schrader are out on lap 107 because of Eugene Karbareski. Why? And the King would only lose by 7 feet to Ryan Newcar, who wins the 25th race, and he'll be the pole sitter for the 26th race as well. But Chick Hicks doesn't wreck any other cars. Good job. And Ryan Newcar wins the 26th race. But the thing is, look at this. You can tell nothing happened. Barely anything happened in the 26th race of 2003. If the most interesting thing is Aiken Axler going from 9th to 7th. And 42 cars finished on the lead lap. And I'm sorry that I had to end the video with the most boring race in Piston Cup history. Oh, and here is the top 20 as of the 26th race of 2003.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
The 2003 Fay 400 is the most boring race in Piston Cup history. But hopefully, the rest of the season will be better. The 2003 Piston Cup Races 27 to 35 will be out soon enough. And after that, the 2003 Dynaco 400